think there's a few different reasons why, obviously, people, I think, are concerned and sort of, resisting, mask wearing. One based on, feeling like the freedom of choice and decision, and perhaps the threat of dictatorship is looming over us.
Do you feel that?
Absolutely.
Threat of dictatorship is looming over us.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when you look around what's going on around in other parts of the world, like you say, obviously things are different politically. But what we see in other, Commonwealth countries like Australia, and them, obviously talking about, no jab, no pay, for the vaccine, for example.
Yeah, we don't do vaccine skepticism. We don't do pro-plague comments on this program. So just keep it to the face mask, if you would. Okay. So you feel that being required to wear a face mask is a baby step towards a dictatorship? Who would be leading the dictatorship?
Okay, so I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, with the media, instilling this kind of idea that basically, if you don't wear a mask, you're not sensible.
But I'm reading. I mean, this phone-in is about all the people in the media telling you not to wear a mask and how ridiculous it is that they're required.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean that's good. I mean, but obviously
it's not though, is it? So just if we take one question at a time, who would be the dictator? Do you think in this dictatorship that you fear we're heading towards?
Well, ultimately, if the government are bringing in policy like to mandate, certain things, which basically are,
just give me a name. Who would be the dictator, Jimmy? Do you think?
Who would be the dictator? Well, it's who's ever, advising and influencing, the people that we see, in office at the end of the day.
This will sound a bit snarky, but it isn't. You keep saying and I genuinely haven't got a clue. So Boris Johnson, does he want to be a dictator?
I can't say whether he wants to be a dictator or not. I mean, what he is planning and what they're doing behind closed doors, we've got no idea at the end of the day. I mean, he may well be.
Because if you wanted to be a dictator, if we were heading towards a dictatorship, wouldn't they have just picked one thing and then stuck with it really slavishly? Because on Monday they said we don't need face masks. So on Monday, did they not want to be dictators?
Well, I mean, I think, obviously it's trying to manage people and also at the same time...
I know you've got a lot to say, but I really need you to answer the questions that I'm asking. So on Monday, the official government advice for school children in secondary schools was not to wear a face mask. And so did they want to be dictators then?
Well, I think that they have a narrative, or they have a plan to do what they're going to do, but they have ways of doing it.
You're not saying anything that makes sense. I hope that doesn't sound rude, because it's a yes/no question. On Monday,
my time's limited.
So's mine. But so let's keep it short then. So on Monday, when the official advice was not to wear a face mask, because it's Wednesday today, the official advice is to wear a face mask, and you think that's a sign that we might be being led towards a dictatorship. So on Monday, when it was the opposite, when the official advice was that we shouldn't wear face masks, did they not want to be dictators then? Yes or no, mate, if you don't mind.
You're putting questions to me.
Yes, I am.
Basically, I'm trying to manipulate how I respond. I'm
just saying today you think face masks are a sign of dictatorship because they're government policy.
Well,
on Monday they weren't government policy on Monday. So I just want you to say whether or not they wanted to be dictators on Monday, like they do today on Wednesday.
Every step where they're bringing in something to do with look, let's just look at the health issues behind this.
Do you know, you haven't even begun to answer a single question that I've asked, but I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes and let you speak.
If you would, thank you. So basically, as we know that people are exempt from having, wearing masks because of underlying or hidden difficulties or disabilities, we don't know how many children haven't been diagnosed with those those disabilities. So again, how many children are potentially being affected emotionally and psychologically because they're being forced to wear a mask, actually, and they're also losing that interaction that basically children have always had for forever. We've never had this in history. So for hundreds of years or thousands of years, people haven't worn masks, and now we don't know what the long-term ramifications could be.
They all had gas masks during the Second World War. Children were all issued with gas masks.
Well, they had to wear them inside schools.
So they had to wear them when the danger was present and acute.
Okay, so it's probably quite different, and obviously where we're talking about gas and obviously an attack, a biological.
No, we're talking about
whatever.
masks, and you saying it's the first time in hundreds of years that children have been required to wear them.
I can also tell you as somebody that
we're just going to ignore that and move on, are we?
No, I'm just I know my time's short.
I know it is. That's why you haven't answered a single question I've asked yet.
But yeah, I mean, you're putting pressure on. But yeah, basically, I mean, I run a top carpet cleaning specialist, and the training of wearing a respirator, they always said that basically you had to basically do it for short intervals because it actually affects your breathing, and it does put stress on you. So, and my partner, she's an asthmatic, and she started wearing a mask, and then actually it made her asthma a lot worse. Yes. You know, some people are okay wearing masks.
Of course they are.
I appreciate that. But again, you know, doing it repeatedly all the time over a long period of time, there is still no science proof that we know whether that's actually going to have long-term effects on your immune system through lack of oxygen and more breathing in.
I would just pause you there. I mean, the idea that it might have a long-term effect on your health due to lack of oxygen is with the greatest of respect. That's complete pants. But I just want to end with one last go at getting you to answer the dictatorship.
Well, there's actually science. Science.
Just the dictatorship thing. I genuinely want to know whether or not you change your fear of dictatorship wasn't there on Monday when the government advice was not to wear them, but it appeared today or late yesterday when the U-turn happened. That's when you started fearing there was a dictatorship there.
So no, my awareness or consciousness of the threat of dictatorship has been actually very, very much since sort of halfway through the lockdown, as I started to gather my own information on the statistics from I run a large company with many clients.
I know,
right?
but you didn't. So you fear the dictatorship more. You already feared it on Monday when the advice was not to wear masks, and now the advice is to wear masks. You fear it even more. What do you think the next sign would be of the looming dictatorship? Well, they're bringing
steps in. So it's a case of, are they going to step up? You know, where if we're supposed to be wearing masks,
I know that your time is very, very limited, and so is my patience. I mean, it's immense, but you have to at some point answer a question that I've asked. So I think we've probably delighted each other long enough. Someone else can have a go at that, though, because he's right. I mean, it is the fear of a looming dictatorship that is being talked about in this context. But as is often the case with what look from the outside to be rather balmy positions, just one or two simple questions usually help us all to see whether or not there's anything in it or not. So who would be the dictator, for example? And, this is a policy that is the polar opposite of what it was yesterday. So if it's evidence today of us marching blindly towards a dictatorship, when the policy was the polar opposite yesterday, would that have been evidence of us not marching blindly to, in fact, even possibly running away from a dictatorship? And take care, Jimmy, and have a great day. But the reason why you don't answer the questions that I've asked and carry on regurgitating your own research is because you kind of somewhere deep down inside, you know what the answers to my questions are.